Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 35, day 3. It is Wednesday, end of the month, August 31st, 2016. As the weeks roll by, as always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market. See what was going through my head on any given day, and always make sure you have a solid trading plan, and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, rolling out the month, and we start September. We are rolling. So many things looking ahead as we roll into September with pre-election. We got FOMC coming up, end of the contracts as well. So volume should be returning. Nothing to be expected right away. But as we roll into September and October, should hopefully see some nicer movement than we have in the last month and a half. All right, looking after a quiet session on Tuesday with only a couple setups, went for the scalp entries today on the three indices. Take a look at those, and one of the better setups on the crude today. So nice move. All right, week 35, day 3. Here we go. Total setups this week: 12 ticks, sitting at 525 total. Again, a majority of those on NQ, but picking up those on the ES. There's our daily stats day. 2 setups each, all in the AM session. Just let that PM session go with econ data pretty much in the positive today. A little bit of increase. The only one, EIA, a decrease from last numbers. But taking a look at the overall trend for the day, it was pretty much flat. We simply dropped and popped it right back up as we lead into Thursday's session. So there we are again, leaving those PM session setups, just letting them go. Preoccupying myself and in the trading room, guiding those who were on these nice moves above the T350, but pretty much kept to the trends in the AM session, and just simply decide to sit out the PM session as the volume not bad today, but just let it go. All right, overall trend of the day, got to give it up to crude, guys. 5 charts in sync here, as we saw price action on the crude just whittle all the way down. Whatever kind of trend you're looking at, that was a nice move there on the T3 moving averages crossing downside. All 5 charts in sync. We got the 534, you got the 5144, you got the higher time frames. That's what you're looking at as price action broke underneath the Globex low and gave a nice ride down. Very controlled today as compared to when crude releases its numbers on other sessions. Usually get a quick chop. This was pretty controlled and gave a nice trend all the way down. All right, so there's your trend of the day. Taking a look at the ES, started with the ES again. AM session was where my focus was. Session trend number 1, 1.5 for the fact that we really didn't have much of a pullback here. So you got another re-entry to the downside with all 5 charts in the red. So nice move to the downside. As we said, it was a drop and back to a pop, pretty much leaving us flat for the session. But nice move in the afternoon here. Set up session number 2. Trend-wise, buy signal right before the T350. If you jumped in above that, not bad. 50 was price action was above the 5144 at this point, so gave yourself a nice move on the ES, pull back, and then right here towards the close, there was session setup number 3 with all 3 charts in the green. Again, just decided to personal choice, sit it out. But there it was, 3 setups, clean. Learning how to stay in the trend is all about the HA bars, and it's exactly what we found. Taking a look at the NQ, nice move to the downside. A little bit choppy here at the get-go. This again after about post 45 minutes. Price action, again, you did have a setup here on the sell signal prior, so you could include that in trend number 1. Stop at the swing size, you would have been okay. But again, price action moving down here. Setup number 1, setup number 2, and then just like the ES, afternoon setups there above the T350. Very nice move, and there it was on the YM. Very slow action here. 2 trend sessions with a pullback here after 2 Hikadashi indecision bars. Put you back in the trade into the downside. 5 charts in the red. You wait for the pullback after the first initial crossover. Oh, it chugged. It finally got up there and finally put you in for about a 10-tick move. Not the best of, not a bad setup. Everything had it going for itself. AD line looked great, and market internals were good. It just was very slow at the end. All right, so taking a look at the 2 highlight trades here. Again, ES with one of those trades to the downside. Here it was. Price action just letting the contracts run itself. On the 5 charts in the red, you had all charts shifting downside, and so just running the 2, watching a couple, and actually the price action continued downside after this, but a couple of indecision bars. Let's make sure we got that one right. Let's go back to that ES setup there. There it was. So here's setup number 1. This is, we're talking about 1.5. So we're talking about a lot of these indecision bars. You don't know where price action is going to go there. So you just simply either exit at the fib projection level, or I decide to bail on the second bar, and we got a couple more indecision bars, and then price action continued downside. All right, that's the decision you make, and you exit and you deal with it and you move on. But that was a nice move on the setup. 5 charts in the red. Hold on as long as you can. All right, another highlight trade there. It was on the NQ. Again, simply doing the in and out. Hopefully, I was thinking price action going to run down to the fib projection level, but at this point, pretty much scalper's attitude today. Again, I could have probably gotten some more ticks if I let the contracts run all the way to fib projection level. I actually never made it to that fib projection level, and neither to the open gap. Had those on the chart, was hoping we get down there, but at this point, just decided price action was watching the other indices and said, I'm just going to go for the 12 in and out, and pretty much stuck to that trading plan for the entire session. All right, let's take a look at the AD line. Again, we talked about that drop and pop, finish them up pretty much flat today, just a little bit downside, but overall trend holding underneath the 10 EMA here on the AD line to the downside. Taking a look at the fib projection levels, let's take a look there. Price action again, NQ, we're almost coming down to that fib target low like we just saw in the NQ. Again, deciding to just go for the scalp instead of the full run there, and price action moving a little bit better today on the NQ. YM a little bit slower, but it was all about the ES today as price action hit both those targets on the YM and pretty much stayed to the downside. Taking a look at the daily gaps all around, we are sitting at that all-time high zone up here on the NQ. We have a gap down here, 47.46. Only gap form today was on the crude upside at 46.21. As you can see, all these white lines downside, those are open gaps to contend with if price action is to continue in any way to the downside. We'll talk about that here in a moment. All right, mentioning again that multiple time frames as we saw price action holding to the downside. There it was, sell signal to the downside on all 5 charts, and actually pulling up a multiple time frame study. It's not just about HA bars, but again, when you're watching price action, you don't just have to be on the Heikin Ashi bars. You can watch Renko bars. You can watch multiple moving average. You can be watching Woody's CCI, combination of super trend and Kiwi trailing stops, whatever it is to keep you in the trade. It's all about that. It's not about getting in at exactly a certain price. It's about what it takes to remain in the trend. So when we talk about the daily trend, we're talking about looking for setups that have the opportunity and the probability of price action continuing. So through trade management, a proper trade management, that sometimes you'll end up only getting out with 2 ticks, but you won't take a huge loss, is about the probability of continued and staying on as long as possible. There's so many trade management tools that you could use once you have a trend in set, but here's a variety of just being able to keep you in the trend, or you keep it simple and give yourselves some higher time frames. You give yourself some short term, 51.44, and you got yourself a nice strategy to keep you in the trend. All right, let's jump into the daily charts as we whip across here. We saw that nice move on the crude right down from underneath the Globex low. So nice move, HA bars to keep you in all the way down. Gold struggling a little bit here under the T350. Nice move. You might have waited till the Globex low, gotten back in on an indecision candle here. 5 charts in the red. There was your real major trend. You started to have a trend little pop up here at Globex low. Again, with only 2 charts in the green, I would have held off. That was the one major trend for the day. Taking a look at the ZN, changing contract, Z6 now, as price action kicking up above the Globex high here in the AM session. Nice move up here with 5 charts in the green. That was about it until the afternoon session when you had 4 charts in the red. Sell signal, indecision bar, there it is. Solid Heikin Ashi bar, tailed down and towards the Globex low. By this time, volume pretty much washed up on the bonds. Taking a look at the indices, as we just saw price action across, there was the one major move to the downside this morning. NQ, same picture as the NQ came down here. This was mid-session, one of the better moves. This was the AM moves over here. And then as price action popped up above that T350 right into the US Open, found that support off the T350 and back to the upside and right to the midnight open. Take a look at the ES price action again, falling below the midnight open there at the end, but very smooth as compared to the NQ and YM today. YM again, not many moves, didn't really move that much, but ES longer trend setups today with a nice AM session moves, a little bit of a pullback, bailed here, price action back to the downside, took that second setup, and then price action back upside again, sat out that PM session, but look for the moves to the downside and look for the moves to the upside above the T350. All right, jumping into the other markets that we take a look at, EMD, again, S&P Mid-Cap 400 is price action best of the best here in the afternoon session. Where the buy signal above the T350. There's another buy signal. There's another buy signal. 5 charts almost there at the green. But not bad. Not as smooth as the ES this morning, but sell signal, sell signal. Again, you have an indecision bar here on a sell signal. That would have kept you out, but there it was. Solid body tail down. Got yourselves a nice little trend. So about 4 little mini setups there on the EMD today. All right, taking a look at the 6E Euro. Again, best of the best moves here in the afternoon session after breaking down the London session high. But just take a look at that right there. Breakout, sitting above the T350. 5 charts in the green. Couldn't ask for anything better. So what are we looking for? 1 to 2 setups. That's it. Take a look at the stats. We're always finding 1 to 2 solid setups that give us a runaway. That's how you build up the ticks over the week. Not looking for the in and outs every day. It's all about trying to find the highest probability trend that will move in its direction. There it was on the 6E today. Yen, a little bit more choppy today. Again, highest probability move was probably towards the end. You had a couple sell signals here. Again, if you're trading the yen, you might have been stopped out. Volume was a little bit rough here. As you see, sell signal, 5 charts in the red. No tick out, no AD line to put you in. So you probably would have taken a loss on that trade, and losses do come even with this strategy. So you would have managed the stop, and again, you had a not a bad. Again, I'm not trading the yen. We're watching it. We listen to the signals. We evaluate. And I do remember now a buy signal on the yen here above the T350 would have put you back in the positive. So latter move towards the latter part of the session. Beans again. Beans struggling. Farm report out today. Sell signal downside. Pretty much range bound. Again, beans typically moves in that range, and then when it trends, it really trends. There was a sell signal, solid hike at Ashibar, 5 charts in the red. It was pretty tight. Again, if you're seeing the volume is low, the easiest thing to do is just go to a smaller time frame, go to a 6-3 or 5-4, and you got yourself some better setups. And again, you would have been able to get a small scalp out of that. Nothing runaway there. And last two, looking at the natty gases, the numbers will come out tomorrow. Again, volume not very big here. Again, pre-numbers, pre-data usually is a smaller range session. Again, you can go to a smaller number, 6-3, if you want to get in some other better entries, and that would have been the answer there on the NG today. Taking a look at the platinum again, very choppy here. Sell signal downside. 5 charts in the red, 5 charts in the red. Again, another 5 charts in the red, but nothing really trending towards the end of the session. It was the early morning that really got you a little bit of a trend underneath and looking for the setups underneath the T350. All right, so that's what we're looking for every day. Go over the charts, look at the setups, look for what's above or below the T350. How many charts add up? We have a trend predictor, basically out of 9 or 10 certain characteristics to the setup. We look for the highest probable entry based on how many charts are in sync, and you simply manage your stop when placing the trade. And hey, sometimes you take a loss. Most of the time we take a winner and we keep them at a minimum. All right, let's take a look at the overall. As we where's current momentum? Where's my not bias, but where's certainly where we sit. Big picture again can relate to ETFs, but right now we're sitting upside 50-200. So what do? Well, intraday we're ready in both directions. It doesn't matter. We're looking either above the T350 or below the T350. If we're trading the ETF, we're looking for a pullback in the current trend. We see across the board on the bottom 4-hour charts, we see price action holding at the 144, below the 144, below the 144. We also see price action below the T350s, just like we would see on an intraday. So I have to go with the short-term momentum to the downside with a little bit of NQ support here at the 144. So if I'm looking for any of these indices to pull downside on a bigger picture, with the momentum is driving there right now, as the 50 is coming close to the 144, we're going to get a red background. Then what I start to do is I start to go to my daily gap chart. I go to my daily gaps. I take a look. Do I have an immediate daily gap in the near future? Well, 47.46, 21.36.75 looks like a viable number, especially if I've already broken that 51.44 and I'm below that. I also look to the 50s on the daily charts to also be a level support. So I have to go with the momentum, still an uptrend, but coming very close to a downtrend. So definitely in a downtrend on the T3 moving averages. Again, I haven't seen a pullback yet to be confirmed in this uptrend, so I'm going to go with a slight momentum to the downside at this point, and we'll see what happens in the follow-through tomorrow. Again, daily picture here on the crude still driving down. We're in between the 5,200, good volume today, as well as the gold and the bonds as we continue our drive down, finding that resistance here at the 50. And as we run into tomorrow here on the EMD, we're still finding that support off the 50. So I got to go with the pullback, but the stronger momentum. We're not below the 144. So I got to go with the EMD upside, but 60 euro still holding downside, still in a downtrend. Small pullback, but we're right there at support at the 200. So losing a little confidence there. And then looking at the 6J, the yen still to the downside and holding strong. All right, as we lead into tomorrow, economic data, a whole host of numbers, jobless claims, PMI, we got ISM, little red star events. And as we lead into Friday, it's really about the non-farm payroll. So look for possibly a little price action move in the next day or two. All right, that concludes an insight into the state of the indices, crude and others, and the daily trend. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter and at Trading Fibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts, and as always, I leave my buys at the door when trading. Ready in both directions, always. Have yourselves a Blue Zone day wherever it may be. Good day, good night, and good trading to you.